Hey Taurus, this is your November 2023 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, this is for you. It's Romy here. I appreciate you joining me, taking time to tune into the channel. We're going to open up this month with the energy of the Two of Swords. Now, you'll certainly still be feeling the reverberations from that lunar eclipse in your sign in October. And in the first few days in November, you know, we realize that we're always being tested, and sometimes there are those moments where we feel like we may be slipping back into something, becoming someone, and you know, we don't want it, we're fighting it. And the realization with Saturn stationing direct on the 4th in Pisces is that we're never going back. We're never going back to be that person. We have grown. We have outgrown that version of ourselves. So I want you to breathe, because even where you feel like there's critical choices, important decisions that are weighing on you in that early part of the month, you have what it takes. And, you know, remember, no one can really take away that wisdom, the experience, you know, the walk that you have taken in this journey. Like, these are sacred to you. And so I feel, even though there may be this sense of somewhat doubting yourself and not wanting to make a decision that puts you back in a place that you fought really hard to move on from, it's not going to be the case. This is a month, November, that feels progressive, and in many ways it brings clarity, which is very refreshing. And, you know, Saturn absolutely wants us to learn the lessons. But what we also witness is where a lot of things have felt like drudgery, they've felt stagnant and stuck or been held back. The floodgates open now, and we get a fresh wave of inspiration. We also feel much more inspired to take meaningful action. And there's a sense of you kind of having this tantalizing preview, which I think you've already been prepared for through most of this year, in many situations where you had no clue why you had to necessarily go through something. And yet, you know, it's starting to come together in a way that, you know, helps you to see. Now, it will be fragments of the story. And I always say that November is like a preview month for 2024 as well. So the encouragement here is to keep focused and to stay on course. But I do have a sense that choice or decision that might be looming is about a breakaway. It's about what you need to break away from, because there's just a realization that perhaps you have outgrown it somewhat. And, you know, you may still feel within you that things are a bit of a hot mess. You know, maybe there's still an area of your life that just hasn't resolved itself yet. But you're bringing humility to this situation, and even your recognition is really helping you to find love and compassion, especially towards yourself. And this is putting you in an incredible, like, awakened state in November. And this is the thing that I think this month is going to be so supportive of, like helping to open your mind further than it ever has before, to help see the way forward and the way through. And the Hierophant, of course, links into your sign, you know, again talks about the way in which you now want to commit and devote to the path and how you're going to move forward. Now he's pointing forth into this labyrinth, and again, like the indecision or the hesitancy that might linger in the beginning of the month, I do feel will dissipate. And I think you're getting incredible sort of activations. You can see the crown chakra there lit up at the same time as being incredibly protected. We have to remind ourselves that we are the eternal student, and so even though you have in some aspects of your life incredible experience and wisdom to share, you know, we also need to stand up and recognize that we know nothing. And in that sort of openness, that transparency, that humility, you're going to be like taken on a bit of a wild cosmic ride through the course of November, to see things, to witness things, to perceive things, and receive things that are really going to help you. I think November is a month for you, Taurus, where you get what you need when you need it. And there's a peace that comes with that. it almost feels like, oh, I'm being heard. The universe is sort of hearing my, my intentions right now. And even if, the path still feels challenging to you, it's almost like the recognition that it is being cleared. Yeah, here we have the Prince of Swords, and literally that sword is cutting through the clouds. Now, communication is vital this month. We have to continue to express and articulate the direction that we're moving in, and what we expect and what we're looking and seeking. And sometimes in Scorpio season there's a desire to want to be a bit secretive, and we can kind of work from the shadows a little bit. But I think in mirror season for you, which it is, the seventh house being activated, the onus is on you to actually kind of stand up and really demonstrate to others, not only this is what I believe in, but this is what I expect, this is what I'm working towards. And I think that's going to feel cathartic to you. It'll just help you to kind of get something off your chest a little bit. And I do feel that you have a sense of divine protection and at times redirection, which you may not initially appreciate, right? But the thing I want to say to you is that November could well herald a major, drastic change of mind for you over something. So what the universe is almost trying to do is not lock you into something, by your own sort of words or your own actions, because you're evolving so quickly and so much that we want you to have that freedom to change your mind. We want you to become more informed or aware, or come into contact with someone or something that just opens your mind in a new way. And for you not to feel guilty, to not feel that you're not able to have that change of heart, that change of mind. So even as we still advocate for you to be open and to communicate, I then almost have this sense of like, if you do change your mind, you're going to be like, oh no, how am I gonna explain this when I've just kind of, laid everything on the line? But this is what it means to be human, and we have to give ourselves permission, along with everybody else, to have that opportunity. Now, Venus will move into Libra on the 8th, which will bring a little bit more diplomacy and harmony into our relationships. And of course, that's helpful for you as you work through this season that highlights this house. You do have a sense of revolving doors happening in the first part of November. So let people come and go. Try to remain a little bit detached until you kind of see where the dust settles, because towards the end of the month you'll have much more clarity about where people stand and their alignment in your pathway. But if you try to kind of judge too early, or infiltrate too early what you think might be happening, or second guess, it's just going to feel like a little bit more confusing for you. Now, we also have the 11/11 portal arriving in November, such a powerful time to harness those manifestations. And, the Fool comes through around this time. Now, remember, the Fool links in with the sign of Uranus, and we have this really interesting Mars opposing Uranus on the day of the 11/11 portal. And, Uranus creates this kind of like tug of war, and we have these competing ideas and forces. And sometimes that can feel a bit, of disharmony and discord. And Mars loves to shock. So, the expectation here is perhaps what you're feeling into, your experiences of the energy, what you're shown perhaps if you're doing rituals, meditations, working with your guides, will be quite surprising to you, very illuminating, and again, set to open your mind and shatter illusions. It will also encourage you and perhaps give you that gentle but powerful shove in the direction of something that is really where you're meant to be. And even though you might have a little overwhelm and some imbalance, it will kind of ultimately force you to take an action, okay? And so the Fool comes in and sort of reminds you that, even though we might feel a bit hesitant at the beginning of November, by the time we come into that portal energy, and of course we'll work our way up to the new moon on the 13th in Scorpio, you are really going to be ready. You're going to be ready to do something. And like I said, you're going to get what you need when you need it. Okay. So the new moon in Scorpio coming at 20 degrees also has an opposition with Uranus, this time with the sun. And so there is like this slightly erratic, somewhat unpredictable energy. But again, it sort of brings about extreme awakening. And because it's sort of highlighting powerfully that 7th house for you, it wouldn't be a surprise that it doesn't sort of fall, squarely in an important relationship in your world at the moment that you're trying to navigate. And it does give you that opportunity for a fresh start. Queen of Cups, I think, brings through the compassion and the ability to listen. And I think it's going to be one of your greatest strengths through the course of this month. When we really remember and we really accept that people at a soul level are sent to play a role, as we are here to play a role, that we're all sacred mirrors for one another, that we're here to trigger, to help the growth, then sometimes you can detach on taking things so personally, and you can understand why a specific behavior or why certain situations that you might be entangled, or involved in with somebody are affecting you so much and forcing you to kind of redirect your attention inwards to do necessary work, or to kind of realize something, or to awaken to something. But as you listen around that new moon, the awakening that comes is quite profound, because I feel like you do learn new information. You learn new information from someone specific, and that may really help you to kind of, again, make the important decisions that you need to, but also I think just feel a little bit more clear-minded. It's just like that information is power, and even if it doesn't necessarily make everything better, it doesn't necessarily bring full resolution, it still puts you in a stronger position. And it also helps you to work on, well, to what degree can I bring love and compassion to this situation, even if that feels like a really difficult thing to do. Now, as we move past that new moon, we come to a really beautiful date to look out for through November, and in and around the 17th. Mars trines with Neptune, the Sun conjunct Mars and Sun trining Neptune. And, these cosmic conversations are sort of illuminating ideas, inspiration, creativity. They're really linking into your dream state, so pay attention around that. But all of that kind of coalesces and helps you to know what action to take. And that's really critical. You do take an action as a result of that. So it's a sort of fortuitous, auspicious time, and one that you feel confident and able to kind of trust in yourself. Okay? I think there's also a recognition, from that mid-month onwards, that where things may feel one-sided, only you can make the decision as to the degree that you want to withdraw, to press pause, or to try to address a scenario. The 9 of Pentacles tells me that, what you've invested, and hear this because it's a really important thing to remember, Taurus, is whatever it is that we invest in our life, whether that be our work, our passions, our relationships, ourselves, and we do it from a place of pure intention. We do it not because there's guarantees and promises, not because there's a set expectation that if I do this, you do this, or expecting that reciprocity, but from this understanding that you're here to have that sacred lived experience, that you can savor this moment because it's never ever going to return. And so when you come at it from that, the karma and what works around for you will always bring you the blessing. And even if it doesn't come in the area or in the timing that you'd expected or anticipated, it is the law of the universe that will bring you to a place that will help you to realize and appreciate what you have, who you are, what you're creating, and the impression and the legacy that you're leaving. And, it's so important at a soul level with the journey and the growth that we're on to really comprehend that. So I would encourage you, because it kind of helps you to take your power back a little bit, but also, which is a continual process for all of us for sure, to really let go of where we hold these kind of impossible expectations on ourselves, but also others and situations to be what we need them to be. Because remember, you're going to need to have through November the freedom to change. Now, the 9 tells me here that, there's something about you needing to be persistent because something's about to pay off, okay? So this is why I also mentioned to you, allow the focus to be maintained and stay on course, okay? Because what you are creating for yourself, what you're architecting, what you're investing in, it does look like it can come together in really beautiful ways, but it doesn't always kind of show up immediately. November, like I said, though, was just giving you this tantalizing preview of something, okay? Now, Pallas Athena, the asteroid goddess, shifts into Scorpio on the 19th. And, you know, remember, she helps us with planning and strategy. And she's helping you to get to the heart of something. You will have incredible insight. You will be able to uncover and discover truth where you need it. And what emerges from that is these infinite possibilities. And there is somewhat of a ruthlessness and a relentlessness that she finds in the Scorpionic energy, because it's a rebirth season. So if we have to give ourselves permission to kind of push through and become that new person, and I sort of go back to what I said right at the beginning, you're always tested with those moments that feels like you're slipping back. Pallas Athena is ensuring, it's far from it, you're continuing to be given and shown insights that really help you to kind of expand and, you know, enable yourself to kind of step into what is coming, not what has been before. And you're at this really critical kind of intersection point with regards to that. Now, as the sun shifts into Sagittarius on the 22nd, Mars moves into the sign on the 24th, and we've just got more space, more freedom. And I always think it's such an interesting combination through Scorpio Sagittarius season, because we're zoning in and zoning out. Yeah, we get the clarity through Scorpio because we have to be precise and, you know, really kind of get under the lens of things, and that sort of magnifying ability to get right down into the heart and the root of something. And then Sagittarius season beckons and we're brought right back up to look at the big picture, the big things that are coming in on the horizon. And the combination of those two, you know, through the month of November, I think is such a powerful one, and always illuminates and gives you like a sense of being able to look at your own journey in a much more realistic understanding of how far you've come, but also kind of where you are in terms of like that bigger journey for yourself. Now, the full moon arrives in Gemini on the 27th at 5 degrees. And it's opposite Mars. So we do feel somewhat challenged around this full moon to have to defend or justify or explain something. So, you know, we can feel slightly unsettled. And yet, again, our ability to communicate, express ourselves, to share something creatively, and to actually be able to shapeshift and transmute information and situations and energy is really heightened. So it's a powerful moon to kind of have working with you to be able to kind of address issues, especially in terms of people that are coming and going. There's going to be a lot of new networking taking place for you. There's going to be a lot of conversations that you're having, that you're trying to explore how to improve and better and advance and progress. And that full moon highlights things that you need to know. Even where you may feel a little bit like you're having to defend or justify, it kind of just narrows your focus and helps in a way get you poised and ready and prepared for sort of being in the position to receive or to step up and kind of put yourself forward with something. So I do feel it can be quite a empowered, because remember, like, Gemini energy is in your second house of value, so this is your opportunity to kind of reveal your value in the conversations that you're having, but do expect that it just might come in with a little bit of discord. And remember, there's always that kind of gossipy viral feel, you know, where information is getting shared, and sometimes we have to really kind of question to what degree this is a false narrative, and, you know, be a truth seeker in that moment. Now, if you're new to the channel, Taurus, our last 3 cards we cover in the extended version of the reading. I talk for another 30 minutes or so. We also look at a personal question and a relationship card for you. So I hope you'll join me for that. I'm going to go ahead and clarify the cards and see the direction we're going to be taking this reading for you. Now, just a reminder, this month, my sacred meditations are an 11/11 activation. And also really feeling into the presence of dragon energy through November. We're using a couple of decks as well this month. So I've created a Dragons of Light journey for you to explore, to become more aware, to be informed, and understand the teaching that they bring, okay? November is also where I put out my seasonal offers. So if you're interested in my sacred titles, my deck and my book, the angel and goddess reports, and also there will be a very limited amount of annual guide and gift readings, which is personal recorded readings that I offer at this time of year for the preview of the year ahead, but there will not be many available. So please check out my website and my socials to ensure that you don't miss out on these offers. Okay. What do we have here? 7 of Cups. 9 of Coins again, and Temperance. Lovely. All the decks I use are always listed as well. Oh, we have another Queen of Cups. Interesting. You might have a water sign or somebody expressing themselves very emotionally with you around that new moon. Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer. Okay. Queen of Pentacles. We have the Tower. Interesting. Okay, what about this 9? 9 of Swords. Justice. The Devil and the King of Wands. You have some interesting clarifiers coming through for your extended Taurus. Okay. I think there is a curiosity for you in November though. Like it is making you hungry for more information to understand something, because you're just feeling so kind of pulled in a certain direction. And it's almost like I need to know why I feel so called to this. I need to know why I feel so drawn to this person, or, you know, this energy. Okay, so we're just going to look at some oracle cards. This is my own deck, Life Soul Vision. Let's have a look. See what wants to come through. Golden Ribbons of Light. Crown Energy, Activations of Wisdom. We have Mirrors of the Mind. The Guide and the Gift. We've got Spirit Stag, Heavenly Timing. Karmic Cause and Effect. Okay, so let's have a look at these Dragon Oracles for Taurus for the month of November. So be sure to check out my Dragons of Light. And, you know, if you haven't explored or you're unsure about, you know, the presence of these beings, then, you know, this will just kind of give you some insight, and you can make your own mind up as to the degree that you feel into their guidance for you. Earth and Water Dragon creates the foundation for new growth. A fresh start is coming. Beautiful. We'll expand these messages in our extended reading. Okay, what do we have here? We've got Spirit. Beautiful. With the sacred standing stones here as well. Taurus, thanks so much for joining me. I hope you'll hop onto the extended. Be sure to check out my seasonal offers and energy activations, and I will see you next month for our final soul story of 2023. You take good care. Bye for now.